This is the process shot. I'm Michael. I'm still stuck here in a haunted theater. And I've just seen Goodbye Golovin, a short Ukrainian film by Mathieu Grimard, released in 2019. It follows a young man named Ian Golovin, who decides to leave his hometown after his father's death and reinvent himself elsewhere. Rather than take a traditional approach to telling this story, though, Ian's own thoughts and point of view are what lead the narrative, further illustrating the conflict between himself and those he plans to leave behind. Right away, the film's style and approach to the story take center stage. Seeing things from Ian's direct perspective is likely the only way that his story could be told, or at least in such a way that we might come to understand why he chooses to burn the bridges within his home city before moving on elsewhere. This direct style is used creatively, but it does have a few points where it seems to break from one stylistic idea and introduce another without warning. Sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. For example, Ian briefly breaks the fourth wall and speaks directly to the viewer, but it only happens once and then never again. Ian himself is a pretty rounded out character as well, again thanks in part to the film's style. In any other version of the story, he would most definitely come off as unlikable and arrogant, but by letting us into his head and letting him explain everything as he sees it, he becomes sympathetic instead. It's not an entirely positive portrayal, though, since we are allowed to step back and see how his actions and new attitude are affecting others. It's not until he's called out for this that he seems to take a step back himself and think about what he's doing. The technical aspects of Goodbye Golovin are just as refined as the film's style. Cinematography keeps things close to Ian's point of view, keeping movement at a slow and casual pace in tune with Ian himself. Editing is also pretty smooth. There are a few somewhat confusing cuts between areas, but for the most part there's a coherent sense of time and location. There's also a definite sense of color design throughout the film, though it's mostly to differentiate the color of Golovin's current home and the possible sterility of where he intends to go, I think. There isn't actually much in the way of showing where he's going, come to think of it, but maybe that's just part of the story. Goodbye Golovin. Mathieu Grimard, 2019. 4 stars. I would very much recommend this short. That's the end of this review. If you liked it, leave a like. If you didn't, leave a comment. If you want, please subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. I'm still stuck in a movie theater, but there are a few gems every now and then.